Hello and welcome to my channel, The Lab Rats. Today's topic is hybridoma technology. It is a technique which is used for the production of monoclonal antibody. Now, this topic is important for BSc, MSc courses as well as for MSc and PhD entrances. Those who wants to learn about the basics of antibody, for example, their structure, their classification, proteolytic digestion of antibody, you can find the link for those videos both in Hindi and English language in the description box. Also, the links are right now flashing on the upper right corner of this video. Now, let's start with today's topic. Hybridoma technology is basically used for the production of monoclonal antibody. The term hybridoma is used for the hybrid cells. These hybrids are produced from antibody producing plasma cell and from the myeloma cell. Okay, myeloma cells are basically cancerous plasma cell. These cancerous plasma cell and normal antibody producing plasma cells are fused together to form the hybrid or the hybridoma, which helps in the production of monoclonal antibody. And so this technique is known as hybridoma technology. This technique was first of all introduced by Kohler and Milstein in 1975, and for that these two scientists shared the Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine in 1984. Now, before moving ahead with this topic, you should have a basic idea of immunology. Also, you should have a basic idea of B cell receptor, epitope, paratope, and how these three things helps in interaction of B cell with the epitope or with the antigenic determinants of the antigen, and how they initiate the immune reaction, how they helps in production of antibody. Also, you should have a basic idea of nucleic acid synthesis pathway, which are two types, de novo and salvage pathway. Now, what is the difference between polyclonal antibody and monoclonal antibody? Suppose our body is invaded by an antigen. This is an immunizing antigen. What is immunizing antigen? The antigen which can initiate the immune reaction. Okay. So, this antigen can have various antigenic determinants on its surface, antigenic determinants or epitope. Okay. These antigenic determinants can initiate the immune responses. One antigen can have multiple type of antigenic determinant, or our body can be invaded by more than one antigen at a time. So suppose this is an antigen and it has these three types of epitopes present on its surface. Now during immune reaction, what happens? Our body has large number of B cells. On the surface of B cell there are B cell receptors. These are nothing but surface bound antibodies. Okay, so on every B cell there are B cell receptor. These B cell receptor helps the B cell to interact with the epitope present on the antigen. When they interact with the epitope, when B cells interact with the epitope present on the antigen, they gets activated and they starts dividing to form a large number of clones. Okay. Now these clones are differentiated into two different type of cells. One is the plasma cell with very short lifetime, and the other one is memory cell, memory B cell. Memory cell helps in adaptive immunity in our body, and plasma cell helps to produce antibodies. So basically a single B cell will be activated by a single epitope and it will produce antibody only for that particular epitope. Suppose this B cell was activated by epitope 1. So when it forms the clone and then get differentiated into plasma cell and memory cell, its plasma cell will produce antibody only against epitope 1. No B cell will produce antibody against more than one epitope. Okay. Now suppose this is the second one which activates this particular B cell. So it will again form the clone. It will differentiate into plasma cell and memory cell. These plasma cell will form antibody. This time these antibody will be against epitope 2. First time they were against epitope 1. Okay. Now let's suppose these are the different B cells that are present in an organism. So these are the B cells, and there are B cell receptor present on all the B cells. These are the B cell receptor. If this organism gets infected by this particular antigen which has several epitope on its surface, let's number them 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so when these B cell will be excited or activated against these epitopes, they will form antibody. Okay, so after this immunizing reaction, if you extract serum from this particular organism, its serum will have a mixture of antibodies directed against all these epitopes. Okay, and we know that for each epitope, a different clone of B cell forms the antibody. It means the mixture of these antibodies has been produced by more than one B cell clone, and that is why these type of mixture of antibody are known as polyclonal antibody. Okay. So definition is polyclonal antibodies are a mixture of antibodies. They are a mixture of antibodies directed towards a variety of different epitopes of immunizing antigen. Obviously, this is an immunizing antigen which is triggering the body of that organism to produce antibody against it. Okay. Produced by multiple B cell clone. So obviously all these antibodies, the mixture of this antibody has been produced by multiple B cell clone, and that is why they are known as polyclonal antibody. Now what we do during monoclonal antibody, suppose these are the different B cells and this antigen invaded the organism. It has 4 epitopes. Okay, so the B cell will be excited or activated against these epitopes and it will form plasma cell. Now at this stage we separate all the activated plasma cells. Okay, for example, this is the plasma cell which has been activated against epitope 1. This is the plasma cell activated against epitope 2. This one against epitope 3, and this is against epitope 4. Okay, so at this stage we will separate all these plasma cell and we will grow them individually. That is, now the clone formed from these plasma cell will be separated from each other. So basically all the clones will be grown separately, and so the antibodies produced from these clones will be in pure form. They will be separated from each other. So here all the antibodies were mixed together. Now in the second case, in case of monoclonal antibody, all these antibodies are directed against some specific epitope. That is, this is directed against first, this is second, this is third, and this is against fourth epitope. Okay, so all these are directed against some specific epitope, and all these are produced from a single clone of cell. Okay, they are produced from a single clone, and that is why we call them monoclonal antibody. Okay, so mono means one, that is antibodies that are produced from a single clone of B cells. So the definition is monoclonal antibodies are the product of a single stimulated B cell. They are the product of single stimulated B cells directed towards one specific epitope. Okay, so this one is directed against only this epitope, this is directed against only this epitope. Okay, so they are directed against only one specific epitope of the immunizing antigen. Initially, there were two major shortcomings in antibody production. First was the short lifetime of plasma cell. So the plasma cells that were being used for the antibody production, they have very short lifetime. Okay, so due to their short lifetime, they could not be grown for a longer period of time. Also, antibodies could not be produced on a large scale from these plasma cells. So there was a need for some cells that could be immortal, that could be grown for a longer period of time, and antibodies could be produced from them on a very large scale. The second shortcoming was specific antibody. Specific pure antibodies just against one particular epitope. Okay, so specific antibody against single epitope. So initially scenario was like whenever people used to inject the antigen of interest in the experimental organism, the antigen could have multiple epitope on its surface. So after the immune reaction, when the serum was isolated, they were getting all the antibodies mixed together. So basically they were getting the polyclonal antibodies. They wanted all these antibodies to be separated or in a monoclonal form. Okay, for that hybridoma technology was invented to overcome all these shortcomings. During hybridoma technology, initially we inject antigen of interest, the antigen against which we want to make our antibody. Okay, so we inject antigen of interest in the experimental organism and then we allow it for some time to produce the plasma cell against these epitope. Okay, after some time the spleen of this organism is isolated because here all the plasma cells are concentrated, so spleen cells are isolated. Now in those cells we will find the plasma cells also that are activated against different epitopes present on the antigen of interest. Now these plasma cells are fused with the myeloma cell. Why so? Plasma cell can form antibody. Myeloma cell on the other hand can show uncontrolled growth. Plus they are immortal because they are cancerous cell. Also, they were containing two major mutations. One was HGPRT minus. So these myeloma cells were deficient in this enzyme, and they also could not produce immunoglobulin. Okay, so it was ensured that whenever the hybrid cell will be produced, the antibody will be produced only due to the plasma cells property. Okay, so the plasma cell and myeloma cell, they are fused. Nowadays there are so many fusogens present in the market. Fusogen present in the market for the cell fusion. Initially, Sendai virus was used for the hybridization of these two cells. Sendai virus. Okay. After hybridization, we get our hybridoma cells. These hybridoma cells have the property of both plasma cell and the myeloma cell. So for example, if you see this one, this has the property of the plasma cell that has been activated against epitope 1 as well as myeloma cell. So all the hybridoma will have property of both the plasma cell and the myeloma cell. But this step is not as simple as it looks, okay? Because the hybridization or the fusion rate is very low. Only approximately 1% of the cells get fused and rest of them are unfused. Okay, so it is very necessary for us to isolate or separate only the hybridoma cell to be used in the further steps. For isolating the hybridoma cell, we use HAT media. It is a selection media that helps in isolation of the hybridoma cell. So HAT media or hypoxanthine aminoterine thymidine media, it is a selection media which promotes the growth of hybridoma cell and it eliminates the myeloma cell by blocking their nucleic acid synthesis pathway. Okay. So here there are two types of nucleic acid synthesis pathway. One is de novo and other is salvage. Now one of the major component of de novo pathway is dihydrofolate and one of the major component of salvage pathway is HGPRT, hypoxanthine guanine phosphoribosyl transferase. Okay, you will further know why these things are important, why we are mentioning only these two components of these two pathways. Okay, now the property of HAT media is that it promotes one of the nucleic acid synthesis pathway and it blocks the other one. Okay, now let's understand the composition of HAT media. HAT media has hypoxanthine. Hypoxanthine is purine derivative. Okay, it has thymidine. Thymidine is pyrimidine deoxynucleoside. Okay, so these two things, thymidine and hypoxanthine, they act as raw material for salvage pathway. So basically, HAT media promotes salvage pathway. Now the third component is aminoterine. It inhibits the dihydrofolate. Okay, so aminoterine basically blocks the de novo pathway. So we already discussed that when we fuse plasma cell and the myeloma cell, when we fuse them, it is not 100% fusion, only 1% of cell get fused. So basically we isolate 5 different categories of cell. There will be some plasma cell that will not fuse. There will be some plasma cell that will fuse to another plasma cells only. Okay. There will be some myeloma cell that will not fuse at all. There will be some myeloma cell that will fuse to another myeloma cell. And then there will be some plasma cell that will fuse to myeloma cell. Okay. This fifth category are the hybridoma cells. So how does this selection process work? If you see the plasma cells and those plasma cells who are fused to another plasma cell. Okay. So in these cells, de novo pathway is blocked because there is aminoterine in the HAT media. These plasma cell, however, can perform salvage pathway because they will be getting raw material from the HAT media and also they have their HGPRT gene functional. Okay, they have HGPRT gene. So they will be able to perform the salvage pathway and hence they will be able to survive. But the lifetime of plasma cell is very short. So after some time they will be eventually eliminated from the media. So now coming to myeloma cell and those myeloma cell that has been fused to another myeloma cell, here the de novo pathway is blocked because of the aminoterine in the HAT media and because the myeloma cells are HGPRT minus, these cells do not have HGPRT enzyme. So their salvage pathway is also blocked. Coming to the hybridoma cells, they have properties of both plasma cell and the myeloma cell. If you talk about plasma cells, so it will not be able to perform de novo, but it will be able to perform salvage pathway. In myeloma cell, both the pathways are blocked. So overall, if you see in hybridoma, these cells can survive on the HAT media because they have the ability to perform salvage pathway with the help of the plasma cells properties. Okay, so on this HAT media, all these four categories of cell will be eliminated and only hybridoma cells will be survive. After the hybridoma cells are selected using the HAT media, they are highly diluted so that when they are seeded in multi-well plates, okay, they are highly diluted so that when they are seeded in the multi-well plate, each well will contain only one single hybridoma cell. This will ensure a pure clone of single hybridoma in each well. Okay. It means we can isolate antibodies from each clone for specific epitopes, and these are called as monoclonal antibody because they have been produced from single clones and they are directed against single specific epitope. For example, this antibody 1 is directed against epitope 1, antibody 2 is directed against epitope 2, and they are separated from each other. So once these antibodies are formed or isolated, they needs to be conformed because there might be chances that one well can contain more than one hybridoma cell. So just to rule out all those possibility, these antibodies are further conformed. For conformation, we can use any sensitive immunological process. Some of the immunological process are ELISA. ELISA stands for enzyme linked immunosorbent assay, or we can perform RIA, okay, etc. So these are among highly specific and sensitive immunological techniques through which we can confirm these monoclonal antibodies that are produced by the hybridoma technology. Talking about the advantages of hybridoma technology, so we can produce antibody at large scale. Also, every time in every batch, the quality of antibody will be same. Then we can produce a specific antibody. The antibody is directed to some specific epitope can be produced by this technology. Also, there are various sensitive immunological experiments for which we need monoclonal antibody because they are much more sensitive and specific than the polyclonal antibody. So for those experimental conditions also hybridoma technology is an advantage. Now we do not need a large number of animal sacrifice for monoclonal antibody processing. So initially we need animal sacrifice, but once the hybridoma cell lines are established, we can use those cell lines to produce antibody in large scale so many times. We can just store them and produce antibody from those cells. Talking about disadvantages, so it is a time consuming process. Also, we need very skillful person to perform this hybridoma technology. Now it is expensive. So if you compare the price of a polyclonal antibody with a monoclonal antibody, you will see a huge difference in the prices. Also, during the cell fusion step, 99% of cells remain unfused. So this is also a very time consuming step in hybridoma technology, and again this is an disadvantage. Thank you so much for watching the video. If this video was useful to you, please like and share it. Subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell icon for recent updates. You can post all your video related query in the comment section. Also, for your queries and recent update, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. So see you in the next video. Until then, keep learning and keep motivating.